What's up, guys? Isaac with the KC Brick Store here. Just wanted to take a minute and talk about how to make Star Wars figures into Castle Minifigures. One of the things that's been a challenge, of course, over the last while is that we've not had a lot of new Castle figures up till recently. And so one of the things that I really enjoy doing is trying to figure out how to take figures from other themes and turn them into castle figures. So sorry for the camera adjustment there, guys. I realized I was a little bit off. It's not the best, but it'll work. So we've got this guy, just kind of a normal little peasant guy, village person, village person. Anyway, he's got a Yoda torso turned backwards, which is why, actually, he's wearing this backpack just so that you can kind of disguise some of those torso detailings that are supposed to be on the front of Yoda and the little green skin that's visible right up at the collar. But I think this guy came out really well. He reminds me of some of those medieval figures, some of the peasant figures from the original medieval market village there. So feel good about him. The next one's a little bit more plain, but I do feel like it works fairly well. So this guy is a Jango Fett torso, young Jango torso. He's not one of the expensive ones, but he's one of the ones that came in an advent calendar. And I feel like all in all, he's not the most spectacular figure you've ever seen, but as far as like a little villager or crafts person for your village, I think he comes out pretty well. So there he is. Another guy, similar type fellow, this guy. So he's got a, oh my goodness, an Obi-Wan torso. It is turned backwards though, but I do really enjoy the sand blue color. I think it looks really good. And the reason, again, this one is also wearing a backpack is just to cover up that skin tone portion up at the top of his torso. Yeah, so I feel like he came out pretty well also. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop onto this lady. So she is actually wearing the cape or the cloth piece from that Obi-Wan. Her body and legs are from the Shin Hati figure. I think it's from the T6 shuttle, but I've been wrong. I don't know my Star Wars stuff as well as I could for sure. But she's a little bit of a plain looking figure. She, in my mind, she looked kind of like a member of a order of traveling magicians or something like that. But I think she looks pretty solid. Be a good little figure to have out on the road. Next here, we've got a couple guys who use Kantonian legs and torsos. So those guys you can get in the AT-ST Raider. And you really, I mean, the torsos and the legs are pretty solid right off. So this guy really just has a head and a hood and a few different color hands added. Maybe his arms are different too. He might have come with silver arms. They make two different ones. So, but pretty simple adaptation there. I really like him. And those guys are pretty cheap too. So easy ones to pick up. The next guy is the same in terms of he's a Kantonian. If I can pick him up here, stuck on the board. Anyway, he's a Kantonian figure. They made two of them. So this guy's the second version, very similar, also very useful in terms of just not really needing to do anything with the legs or torso. Now, this guy does have one of the dwarf beards from the Hobbits, from the Hobbit figures, rather. So that part is pretty pricey on this guy. You really don't need that, though. Again, like I showed you with the last one, a hood or hat, or there's a lot of things you can do. Ultimately, in my mind, I have this guy living in a diorama as a hunter in Hagrid's hut in the forest. So we'll see if I ever get to building that far. Next, we have a Jawa torso backwards. Not for any skin tone reason or anything like that, just because the front maybe looks a little modern. And this guy has some touches that look a little modern just in general. All in all, I would say I'm pretty satisfied. And that's going to just depend on who you are, what you feel good about. There's some figure videos that I've watched where I think people's choices don't make a lot of sense. So if you think this one doesn't make sense or any of these others don't make sense, that's fine. These are just things that I think work out okay. But we'll go ahead and move on from this guy. So one that I think is relatively new, I think it's a Kanan torso and legs combination. I just saw it recently, but I thought just the printing looked really good. That chainmail well, I'm sure it's not meant to be chainmail, but there's kind of a chainmail or scale mail or something poking out from under his shirt. Makes him, I think, look super solid for castle scene. Maybe a little questionable as somebody individually. You might not want to get too involved with him before you know what he's up to. But there's that guy. The next one is a Greef Karga torso, another guy that's quite inexpensive. Torso and legs, actually. I've seen people use this torso and leg combination for kings or royalty. Oh. But I don't know that that's, in my mind, I don't know that that works out the best. I think this guy, as a alchemist or a mage or something of that sort, works out really well. So just pretty pleased with him, and I think he's good. And then we're down to our last several here, guys. These next two are very related. So I'm going to, we'll do them right after each other. This guy, so it's just a bear knight with matching breastplate in that, what is that, pearl dark gray, something like that. But then I also have included the helmet from the Inquisitor on the T6 shuttle, Ahsoka's T6 shuttle. So I feel like this helmet can be overused, but I feel like it is a really nice helmet. It does still have some spacey looking features there in the back. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good on a lot of castle figures. So there's that. And since that guy really only uses the helmet from Star Wars, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've done with the rest of that figure, actually. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this is that Inquisitor figure here. So it's kind of an interesting one, and I did, I believe, flip the torso around. You can see some buttons and lights and such there, whatever those are supposed to be. So I've hidden that under this cape, but then the front here, well, what's the new front? Can't really tell on the camera how well you can see, so sorry if I'm showing this at weird angles. But it's just a very grungy, rusty, dirty set of armor. And so I kind of imagine this guy as somebody as being a suit of armor that's sat for a long time somewhere abandoned, or somebody who's been in the midst of a really intense, dirty battle there. So anyway, I think it works out pretty nicely with this figure, but kind of a limited use option there too. So kind of a mixed bag on that one. But I think between those two figures, they come out pretty nicely. And then lastly, probably my favorite figure here is this guy. So he's pretty much just a skiff guard, because the torso and the legs are the skiff guard torso and legs. But of course, head and hair and arm or hands have been changed. The only thing that makes me question this figure is that you can see on his back and on his front, actually, where there's supposed to be hair that connects to the torso. And it doesn't quite work out on this guy. I do think it's fine, though. I think, in my mind, it's just something he's thrown over his shoulder or, whatever, something like that. But I think he comes out really well as a nice peasant farmer guy there. So anyway, guys, I hope that this has been interesting or helpful to you. I hope you've seen some ideas maybe you've not thought about before. But yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and thanks for watching.